Warning, this following story may contain disturbing themes not suitable for viewers under 13.
For 5 years, 2 Radio 1 has become the most listened radio station in Ngari, though some people found it very annoying because they repeat the same songs every 5 hours, every day. Some people even switched to Spotify because of it. But now, for this story, you will see a dark side of 2 Radio 1 that nobody knows about. This kind of phenomenon is known as 2 Radio 666. What you're about to hear is something very scary, disturbing, and very mortal. This is our story.
Hello there, I'd like to tell you a story about 2 Radio 1. If you don't know what it is, it's the most popular radio station in Ngari, or what most people say, the most hated station in the country. The reason why many people hate it so much is because of the overuse of overplayed songs, unfunny jokes, etc. One day, I stopped listening to 2 Radio 1 because of something I will never forget. One day, I was listening to 2 Radio 1 on my phone, and I was listening to my favorite songs. However, an overplayed song started to play after that. The song was lame, the lyrics was annoying, and the singers are underperformed, so I decided to skip it and close the app. However, the app opened back up by itself, which I was shocked because my phone never did something like that before. I had no choice but to finish listening to the overplayed song, but once it finished, another overplayed song started to play. The song was even worse than the other song I was listening to, so I closed the app again. It came back up again, and I later heard one of the 2 Radio 1 presenters speaking, in an irritated and frowny tone. He said, "Why did you do it? Why did you skip our song? You were clearly not supposed to miss it. What kind of sick bastard are you?" I was shocked at the way how that guy was talking to me, but once his air check was finished, another overplayed song is playing. The song lasted for 7 minutes, which is unusual because most songs last for 3 minutes. I later started getting tired listening to the song, so I closed the app once again. It opened back up yet again, but this time after the overplayed song is finished, the jingles started to sound a little off. The jingles were slightly distorted, and the voices are reverse. I was concerned about what is going to happen when I skip another overplayed song. However, there was no overplayed song this time, it was Calvin Harris's hit called Summer. After the song was finished, yet another overplayed song was starting to play. I closed the app again, but once it opened back up, things started to get creepy. The presenters were speaking in a slightly demonic tone this time, which I started to get scared. One of them were speaking in reverse, and the other started spouting various racist insults at me. After the air check, the jingles started to get creepier as the audio is turned into G major. I can't believe what I was listening. Another song, which was from Justin Bieber, started to play, but I was angry because they were playing that baby song from 2010, so I skipped it. After I closed the app, it opened back up again, but I heard a really loud scream, and it was so loud that I almost dropped my phone. As my ordeal went on, the jingles were changed again. This time I can hear station voice Scott Martin Rojas saying, "You deserve everything you get because it's what you suffer," rather than saying the traditional 2 Radio 1 slogan. I then started to realize that there was no commercial break, and no news bulletin. This made me feel more worried than I was before. A Katy Perry song was playing, but it was abruptly interrupted with another presenter reading a book about demons and world domination in a Latin language, which made me scared even more. I don't even know what to do. After he finished reading, an overplayed song started to build up, and I tried turning off my phone over and over again, but it won't work. I was so scared to my toe that I had to call my friend for help. I asked Diane if she listened to the same creepiness that is happening in the station, because that is what they were doing on the radio. Diane said that she listened to 2 Radio 1 and nothing happened to her after skipping overplayed songs. I started to have a panic attack and drank some Coca-Cola to calm down. When I got back, I skipped another overplayed song, but this got even more creepier. The jingles were much scarier, there were scarier screams heard in the background, and the voices are worse. As it went on, less and less good songs started to play, and most of them are overplayed of course. I asked Diane to contact 2 Radio 1 about what is happening, but the line was cut off. After the song was finished, a demon roared at me in the ears and said, 2 Radio 1 cannot be stopped. No one is going to save you. We know your phone number and we're going to find you and kill you. To this point, I really don't know what I was supposed to do, so I tried to watch TV, but it won't turn on. There is an overplayed song that I hated so much, and it started to play. I was strongly against the song, so I skipped it and closed the app. After it opened back up, the screaming is even louder than ever, and it almost made my ears bleed so bad. After the hated overplayed song is over, I heard children screaming in pain as a chainsaw started to blare, and I heard loud splattering as well. When I looked at the 2 Radio 1 web camera, I was shocked to see the poor kids being brutally murdered by the 3 presenters of the breakfast program, Wake Up. I mean, how could they do this? Why would they kill those children like that? The songs were in G major, and screaming and painful and miserable crying were heard in the background. I tried closing the app again, but it won't swipe up or down, which I was really freaked out. The jingles fared no better, as they started to get much worse than it already is. Another overplayed song was playing, this time in a more demonic tone. I was forced to listen to it because the swiping was disabled. A well-known radio personality, George Schofield, was speaking in reverse and I have no idea what he was saying. He was probably saying something related to death and suicide. After 7 overplayed songs I listened, this is what I believe was the last one. It was Stand By Your Sausages by Dr. Love. After the song was finished, the studio is caught on fire and the corpses were burned. You can still see the blood on the walls after the kids were brutally murdered. Then George Schofield, the same guy from before, started to speak as he said, "This is your last chance, don't fuck us around any further." A song called Remedy from Alesso started to play. I personally like the song, but once after it was finished, the audio was cut to silence. After 6 minutes of silence, it was cut to static. It's just like if 2 Radio 1 was actually closing down. However, the static was cut off, and I heard a distorted music, painful screaming, and a nurse singing creepy songs at me. I don't know what was going on. I shredded into tears and begged the 2 Radio 1 presenters to give me another chance, but they said this, "It's too late. You played off all your chances. You refused to listen, and now you'll pay for everything." Then George once again started to speak and said, "Goodbye forever, Karen M. Reyes." I was so shocked. How did he know my name? The audio is cut to static, and nothing happened for 8 minutes. That wasn't until George Schofield suddenly busted into my house, armed with a knife and an 4 tube, and he tried to strangle me to death. I kicked George in the nuts, and when I tried to run out of the house, he grabbed my leg and tripped. He slashed my wrists and tried to stab me in the chest, but Diane realized what was happening inside and called the police. When George tried to finish me off, the police raided the house and arrested him. I was rushed to the hospital to have my wrists treated, and I was discharged a week later. I contacted 2 Radio 1 about the creepy things happening, but they said this: "We don't know what happened, and we don't have anything to do with George Schofield. He didn't work with us because he does not work for the radio, but rather for television. We would like to apologize about the events, and we only believe that our broadcast has been hijacked. We fixed it now, and we would never hurt anyone, all because of an overplayed song." After all the creepy things have been cleared out of my head, I started to forget about 2 Radio 1 and never listened to it again. However, a letter was shown outside my door, and it brought back the fear I had recently. The letter said,
"TW Radio 1 chat release fear death on you."
Scary, wasn't it? Well, we're not finished yet. Tomorrow night's story will be about a fictional Hungarian pharmacy company called Binu. Stay tuned. But in the meantime, do listen to 2 Radio 1. Just kidding, Spotify is life.